All right, my friends, welcome to Will's Treasures. If collecting silver, stacking silver, or pouring precious metals is your thing, you are in the right place. Got my gloves on today, and we're going to be pouring some metal. I got the furnace heating up. You can see we're at 927. We're almost there. So we're going to get started loading this flask, and we're going to be pouring a silver arrowhead today. So let's get right to it. I'm going to explain it as I go. So check it out. All right. So we'll get right to it. And you may be wondering, what is this thing? Well, this is called a flask. And when it gets together like this, kind of takes the shape of a flask. It has a hole in the top, you know, like a normal flask does. If you were going to drink it, see? So it has the shape of a flask. I guess that's why they call it a flask. Now the top part here with your pegs in it, that's called the cope. The bottom part is the drag. So you got the drag, you got the cope. Together it's called the flask. So when it's together and you're going to start, you're going to take the cope off, put it aside, take the drag, flip it over. It's got a little ridge on the inside of it. You'll see it when you pour your own metal. But just take it from me, we're going to add some sand in here, some Petrobond sand, and I like to screen the first bit of it because it loosens up the sand real good and it'll take to your pattern much better. So I screen the first bit of it, start packing it down. Now there's a few different ways to put your pattern in. This particular pattern, we're going to make a arrowhead, and we're going to keep the first side flat, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I flip this over, okay? We get some more sand. Break it up as you put it in there. Pack it down real good. Now if you know, there's different ways of packing it down. I like to pack it down with my fingers, and then I'll take a hammer and get it nice and tight. Need just a little bit more. You want to get it right up to the top. So you have a nice flat surface. Alright, once you pack it in like that, you get a straight edge. I use a square. Just with the sawing motion, go back and forth, get the excess off. All right, now you have a nice flat side here. Put all this to the side. All right. Then you're going to flip it over, and look at that. See how nice and smooth that is? You flip it over like that. Now you're going to take your pattern, and we're going to be pouring this arrowhead here. So you're going to take your pattern, place it where you want, and for this particular one, we're going to push the pattern into the clay. Make sure you get all the corners. So it's in there. Now once you have your pattern in there, you're going to take your little tool and you're going to clear out a funnel so the metal can flow unobstructed to your pattern. I'm kind of showing you step by step here. Not going to take too many breaks. You want to make sure you get right up to your pattern. Push the sides down. So when it comes down to it, the metal can flow right into it. After that, you may be wondering what this white stuff is. This is cornstarch and dried out cornstarch. Let's get some fresh stuff here. Now you're going to take the cornstarch and you're going to put it on your pattern. People use baby powder. I use cornstarch just because I have it available. And you'll hear this referred to as parting powder. All right, once you have that on there, you're going to take your cope, you're going to place it on top, and you're going to fill this in and pack it in. I'm going to shut the camera off for a second. I'm going to fill this in, pack it in, and then I'll loop you right back in. All right, I got the other side filled in. Now you're going to take them apart, just wiggle them very gently. Pull them apart, and you'll see there's the other side of the pattern for the arrowhead. All right, so put that one aside, and you're going to have to cut out your channel, your funnel, for this side of the arrowhead. All right, make sure it's nice and clean. And the funnel has to go, it has to reach your pattern, okay? So what I like to do is just, with the end of a paintbrush, I'd like to just make sure that it connects with your pattern. Push down the edges. You can use your finger, you can use a tool, but you want to make sure that it's clean, and you want to make sure that it reaches your pattern so the metal can flow. All right, so now we're going to take the pattern out of this side, and as you can see, there it is on that side. So we got two nice patterns. We're going to put them together, and you make sure all the little bits and pieces are out. Before we put them together though, I want to show you a little trick that gets the metal to flow a lot better, and it's called venting. All right, if you can picture, we're going to pour this metal down the funnel here, and it's going to come cruising down into this pattern, fill up the pattern, but you have to remember that that pattern is filled with air. Okay, so when the metal comes down and shoots into the pattern, it's going to start to swirl around, and it's going to have to force the air back out this way. When that happens, the force of the metal swirling around the pattern could get bubbles in it, could come out a little rough. So what you want to do, you want to put vent lines in there, and it's very simple to do. You just take a tool with a sharp point, or you can take a nail, and you just start at the far end of your pattern, and you cut a vent line. All right, and what this will do, when the metal comes down into your pattern, it's going to force the air out your vent line. Okay, so it'll fill up the pattern, force the air out this way. You'll have a much smoother fill. I'm also going to do 2 small ones over here to make sure that I have no extra air in that pattern. Now everybody has their own way of doing the venting. You know, this seems to work for me. If you have a different method, please feel free to put it down in the comments. Always learning, always willing to hear everybody's method of how they do it. So, all right. So we have the patterns, we have the vent lines. We're going to put it together. Nice and easy. We're going to clamp it all together. Now you definitely want to clamp your stuff before you pour. Clamp it all together. I'm going to move the camera up a little bit. There you go. Got it all set, got the clamp. We're going to take a peek in. The metal is all melted. We are ready to go, my friends. So real important, you must heat up your molds before you pour. If you don't heat it up and get all the moisture out of the metal, and you add the molten metal into it, you could possibly have a steam explosion, and that will shoot molten metal all over you. Won't be good. So we're going to make sure we heat this whole thing up. Get it nice and hot. It's always good to have one of these hand torches. So we'll heat it up pretty good. Put you back down. Get my glove on. Safety first. And now we're going to pour the metal. Get a good pour here. There we go. Let that sit for a second. You can see down there it filled up the whole mold. I'll loop you back in once I break this open. All right, let's see what we got. Gonna open her up. Nice and steamy. And you can see how the vent line worked. It would push the air out, and also some extra metal went down there, which is fine. I have no problem with that. And we're gonna pull her out. Oh, look at that. There she is. I see her. She's looking good. Let's get her in the water. Quench her off. Only takes a second or two for that. They cool down super quick. There's our piece. There's the arrowhead. Like it. Let me clean her off a little bit. You can get a little better look at it. There she is, my friends. Another beauty. And then we just trim off this plug here, trim up the top, just clean it up a little bit before somebody claims it. So that's it. That's pouring a silver arrowhead. And this extra stuff here, you can just take out these extra little pieces that went down the vent. And you'll add them into the next pour. So I hope you enjoyed that pour, guys. I think it came out pretty good. Nice little arrowhead there. If you want one of these, get in touch with me. I am selling them, and they seem to be a pretty big hit. A lot of people want them, so get in touch with me. I'll leave my email down in the description below, and we can hook you up. I'm gonna get to pouring a couple more because I got to get about 5 of them done today. So I'm gonna pour a couple more. If I decide to pour a different pattern, I'm gonna shoot another video to let you guys see that. But this is Will from Will's Treasures. I hope you enjoyed this, and you can take something back to your own pouring setup and get some stuff done yourself. You guys have a great weekend, and I will catch you guys on the next video.